In this video, we're going to talk about Boolean operators in Scheme. So here I have some Scheme programs. I have a few names defined already. Let's load this. And if I say x is 10, so if I say less than 7x, that should return true. And if I say greater than 7x, that should return false. So my Boolean expressions in Scheme are going to return true or false. So the first Boolean operator we want to see is and would be true if both parameters are true. And we can actually create a quick truth table here. We'll say and false false, and true false, and false true, and true true. And then when I run this, this is only true if both arguments are true. And we can do the same thing for any Boolean operator. So let's copy this code and then we'll change this to or. And make sure you change all the examples to or as well so that it gives you the output you would expect. And so now you can see or is true if one of the arguments is true. What about exclusive or? So the operator is XOR, that's exclusive or. And when I run this, that's true if exactly one of the arguments is true. If they're both false, then it's false. And if they're both true, it's also false because exclusive or is only true if one of the arguments is true. Now another Boolean operator that we may want to use is not. And not just takes one parameter. And when I run this, you can see that false is true, not false is also true, which of course isn't interesting. So let me do this corrected. So now you can see that not false is true, but not true is false. Now, most of this should be review. You should understand how these Boolean operators work. So the question is, how do we use those in Scheme? So I could create a statement like and then let's suppose I want to make sure that x is greater than 8 and y is less than 20. And that's true. So if you recall, z is 15. So if I want to check to see if that's a multiple of 3, but I want to add it to the previous condition, well, the way I check if it's a multiple of 3, I check to see if the remainder, when we divide z by 3, is 0. If it is, it's a multiple of 3. And notice I've now added a third condition to my and. So when I press enter, notice that this evaluates to true. Now, if I want to add another condition, just false, that's going to be false. And notice that's now the fourth condition. But if I add true, then that evaluates to true because true doesn't affect the evaluation of a true statement. So let me add these to my source code. Now for this first one, let me actually make one of these false just so that we can see a distinction. So I'm going to say less than x8, and in that case it's going to be false. So now let's copy these here and let's change that to an or. And if I do that, you can see that both of those evaluate to true. Y is less than 20, so this evaluates to true in both cases. It doesn't matter the truth of this first one. So this was a quick introduction to some of the Boolean operators available in Scheme. For the most part, this should work like things you've seen before. The one difference may be that we can have more than 2 arguments to our Boolean operators.